In this video, I want to take you through introduction to ModelBuilder in ArcMap. I will show you the interface of ModelBuilder in ArcGIS, and I'll show you the functionalities therein, and I will give a typical example on how to run a model in ArcMap. So let's get started. Here in ArcGIS, the first thing I would love to do, I want to bring in a particular linear feature which I will use later to demonstrate model in ArcMap. So I'll just click on Add Data. For example, let me bring in this lineament shapefile and click on OK. So I have this lineament shapefile in ArcGIS. Now, to open a model and visualize the functionalities and also run a model in ArcMap, come to Geoprocessing. Then here you can see ModelBuilder. So click on it to open a ModelBuilder. And if you open a ModelBuilder, here is a blank model. So let me maximize the model interface. Here is the interface of model in ArcMap. Now if you come here, you can see different menus here. And if you come to this model, here you can see where you can run your model. You can run an entire model. In a situations where you have independent models that are linked, you can run an entire model using this function. Then here you can validate an entire model, and you can also save your model from here. More also, you can export to graphic, and you can also export to Python scripts. And here you can import a model builder from ArcView 3.3. So if you come to edit, you see the functions to edit here, to copy, to paste, to delete, and so on. And if you come to insert, you can insert a data here, or you can insert a tool. And here you can create your variable in ModelBuilder. You can also create labels. And here we have different model only tools like calculate value, collect value, get feed value, match branch, and so on. Then if we come to iterators, we have different iterator here. You have for, y, and so on here. So that is for under insert. And of course, if you come to view, you see some functions here. To view, to extend, you can also see auto layout. And if you come to help, you can get help here about ModelBuilder, and you can get help on ArcGIS desktop help. Now, beneath here, you can see some buttons. For example, if you want to add data, you can click on this icon, which is add data or tool, to add your data. And here you can see connector. This is to connect your, for example, your data to the tool inside model. And you can see this sign to validate your entire model. Then you can also see the icon to run the model. For example, if I want to add data to this model, I can just click on add data. Then I will navigate to my folder where the data is. For example, if I want to add this lineament to my model, I'll click on lineament and click on add. You can see that my data has been added to my model. So let me restore down this model page. Now I can expand it a bit. So the next thing is that it's either you add your data from here, or you can drag your data from the table of content of ArcMap into the model. And if you have a data inside your model that you want to delete, you can just click on delete here, or you can just right click and delete if you wish to. Similarly, you can press your delete tool if you highlight that very tool or data set you want to delete. Now, how do we use this model? So to use ModelBuilder, for example, I want to run a particular operations using ModelBuilder in ArcMap. For example, let's run buffer operations using ModelBuilder in ArcMap. To do that, you have to bring in your data into the model, and also you will bring the tool you want to use to run the model. For example, I can just drag this lineament and drop it inside the model. So I have my data set inside the model. Now if I want to run buffer operations, so what I need to do is to bring in the tool that I will need to run the operation. So I can just come to search, and then let me bring this here. So search for buffer. When you search for buffer, it will bring all the buffer tools here. So the buffer tool we want to use is buffer under analysis tool. So just click and drag the tool inside the model. So you can see I've brought in the tool inside the model. Now what we need to do is to add the data set we want to buffer into the tool called buffer. So to do that, we are going to use connect tool. Click on connect tool and click here and drag it to the tool just like this, and then click on input feature. So what that means is that this lineament is the input layer into our buffer operations. Now that we have done this, let's pick the select tool. What we need to do is that we need to define some parameters. When you are buffering, you must state the distance you want to buffer, and to do that, come to the tool, right click it and make variable. And the variable we want to make is we want to create the distance we want to buffer. So when you come to from parameters, click on distance in bracket value of field. When you click on it, the distance will be added. So let me bring it here. So here we have to specify the distance we want to buffer, and to do that, just double click here. It will bring this distance to. So here you need to specify the linear unit. The linear units, come here and click on the drop down. You can see different metric units here. So if we want to buffer in meter, select meter. But in this exercise, I want to demonstrate using kilometer. So I will click on kilometers. Then specify the number of kilometers you want to buffer. For example, I want to buffer 1 kilometer. So I will select 1 kilometer and click on OK. Immediately I click on OK, you can see that my model has turned to colored, meaning that I've input all the required parameters. Now, if you come to this output, we can rename the output. For example, to rename it, right click and click on rename. Then let's rename it as 1 kilometer buffer. Then click on OK. So you can see it has been labeled as 1 kilometer buffer. Now you can validate your model. So to do that, just click on this validate entire model. So if there is any error, you will be notified. But in this case, everything is okay. Now to run the model, you can just click on this run, or alternatively, you can come to this buffer tool, right click and click on run. So whichever one, it will run and buffer the extent we have specified. Now you can see that the buffer operation has been completed. So we can close this page. So now to visualize the result, come to this output, right click and click on add to display. When you do that, it will be added to display. Now we can minimize the model, and here is the buffer of 1 kilometer around our lineament feature. You can see it. So the benefit of using a model is that it helps to automate your workflow, such that if you need further analysis or you want to bring in another variable, it will be easier for you to define such variable. But in essence, this is introduction to Model Builder in ArcMap. If you have any questions, let's know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.